Uh, Good morning, everyone. We are going to start the technical session for today. It's a very important session we are going to have, and Professor Rameshwar Dubey will be the first speaker, who is from Montpellier University, France, and some lady professor by Young. She is joining us from Malaysia, and Dr. Santosh and Dr. Madhav, they are going to join us from Nepal. So this is totally going to be the international session, and I think you will enjoy the session, and we will enrich our knowledge with interaction with such a great eminent professors. Now, I would like to call Dr. Neeraj. Please continue.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Professor Rameshwar Dubey to take to 10:30 and half 10 to 10, from 10:30 to 11 o'clock, lady from Malaysia. And 11 to 11:30.
Yeah, Professor Rameshwar Dubey, sir from France, join us, and I am inviting him for the presentation. Sir, please, you can take the mic and.
We are having the most outstanding foreign speakers, and approximately as such the invited speaker, there is no limit of time, but there are so many other speakers also. I hope honorable speakers will take approximately about half an hour. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's start. So I am inviting Professor Rameshwar Dubey, sir from France. Please, sir, continue your presentations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the conference committee. Thank you, Professor Singh, for giving an opportunity to share the editorial perspective based on a very interesting topic, which I feel that it's a pressing need of the time. So thank you very much. Let me. I do not want to delay further. I just like to take an opportunity to share my screen. Please let me know if everybody can see my screen actually. Can you see the screen? All of you, please let me know.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm Professor Rameshwar Dubey, and I'm a professor, full professor in Montpellier Business School, Montpellier in France, and also a reader, operations management 0.65 contract. So I hold two positions in French and the British University. Then I'm the head of the Doctoral School of Management and adjunct professor at Jammu. Based on my editorial experience, I would like to share a very interesting contrast. This topic is so interesting that I could not stop, myself from, preparing a brief slide. So thank you very much to the organizing committee and Professor Singh particularly, who gave me an opportunity to, present. So I'm going to just talk about today we are living in the era of digital, and we have seen the analytics have played an important role in tackling humanitarian crisis, especially resulting from the food shortages and the health problems. Why I'm mentioning this topic, because one of my doctoral students, Dr. Surajit Bagh, is also organizing a special issue on the theme for British Food Journal. I think many of you know about this journal. This journal is a very, very much, in line with the this conference actually, and I welcome if somebody has any good article. I would encourage people to submit their research articles, of course, a solid research article to this prestigious journal, which is a 120 years old journal. I think everybody knows about this journal. If you look into this journal, about the journal, actually, you can see that this journal has it's a impact factor journal and a very old journal. And in a recently, one of my doctoral student, Dr. Surjit Bagh, who is my doctoral student who completed dual PhD under me, and now Dr. Surjit Bagh is organizing a special issue on the theme called "Building Digital Technological Capabilities for Innovative Circular Economics Models in the Food Supply Chain." So I encourage people to consider if they have a theme very much matches to my presentation. So before, without delaying, actually, let me get back to the objective of the discussion. I would like to talk very briefly because due to paucity of the time, and I understand that this is the forum where my objective is to float the ideas, float the perspective, and then you can build upon. You can get in touch with Professor Singh. If you have a good manuscript, you can reach it out to me, and we'll see that how I can help you to get published. It's very important that, especially from the agricultural field, we understand this is an interdisciplinary branch actually. It requires input from engineering, science, analytics, and all perspective to shape the dimension. So this is a very multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary stream. So by objective of the presentation would be considered into following categories. Like I will talk about the humanitarian crisis. We'll talk about the how to classify the analytics model. I will discuss about the potential research gaps and how to bridge the future research directions, how to tackle these important questions. We have seen in the recent time the crisis is on rise actually, and food crisis is one of the important concern. Following the Ukraine and the Russia war, it has further escalated actually. You can see that there is a significant shortages of food grains in many parts of the world because of this war. So geopolitical crisis has further, aggravated the situations. Climate change is another concern actually. Even in the recent time in India actually, especially when you talk about UP, in some part of the UP, due to severe climate change, there is a significant fall in the productivity of some of the important grains. We need to understand exactly that how to tackle the food crisis in future. And secondly, that's important concern that we have to understand that what are the health crises, and we cannot separate these two dimensions from each other because they are very much linked to each other. And health crisis, as we have seen in the form of COVID actually, and the COVID crisis has caused severe damages to the economy, not only the economy of our country, it has impacted the entire world, global economy. And these two, food and the health, are the two most important fundamental elements for the survival. And that's why my request to you that how analytics research, how analytics component can be used and analyzed, to address these severe global problems. And we need to work together. And as a researcher, we need to understand that we have to undertake some kind of, novel research to tackle such kind of problems so that we can help the policymakers to, make some changes in the policies so that they can tackle such kind of problem. So you can see that the disasters is on rise because of the climate change, because of the geopolitical crisis, and the growing population itself has a severe impact. So these are the issues that we have confronted in the recent time. If you see the classifications actually, these crises can be classified due to extreme weather, drought, and that drought and extreme weather have a severe impact on the food shortages, flood, and all these issues are one of the important concerns that has impacted the various parts of the country, various part of the Southeast Asian countries, and and other parts of the world also. So we need to understand that how analytics as a tool. Now, analytics cannot prevent these disasters, but it allows the policymakers and the non-government organizations and the governmental organizations to work together in coordination to tackle such crises so that we can minimize the humanitarian crisis. And that's why you use the word called humanitarian crisis. How we can reduce the pain that human is being inflicted to the human being. And these are the things that we need to take care of it. So we can see that the global deaths, although it has reduced in the recent time because of the lot of advancement in the technology, better coordinations, a lot of support. So these are the things are important, but still we have to understand that there are a lot of works to be done on this front. And when you talk about the coordination, it's still a missing link in the entire process. How we can deal with this and how technology can play an important role, especially the digital technology. And that's why we need to talk about the digital transformation as such, which not only includes analytics, but it also includes blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, and we know that we are living in the era third generation artificial intelligence. Many of you have come across a term called chat GPT, but it is a very interesting and powerful technology. Rather than criticizing the technology, we have to understand that these kind of technologies can be very, very useful in the future. So I have classified the disasters into following categories based on Van Wassenhove 2006 work. There's a calamity, there's a destructive actions, plagues, and crisis. And these are the different types of crises that disasters that we see. And we have to understand that the crisis the resulting from the food and the health are the most important aspect that we need to take into consideration. And this is the area where we have to get into. So when we talk about analytics, actually, we know that based on the value and the difficulty, we have classified analytics into four categories, like descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. And we have to understand that the prescriptive analytics and the predictive analytics are the two most important area of concern. And these are the areas where we need to put a lot of stress, and we are working, on a continuous basis to improve the ability to predict the future outcome and provide, in-depth actions so that the managers and the policymakers can implement them on time so that they can prevent such kind of damages which you have seen in the Turkey earthquakes and other severe crises. So I just want to talk about, let's talk about the most important aspect of the research, because I'm sorry I'm jumping, but it's very important to understand. When we talk about the empirical study, actually, as a researchers, as a scholars, you must be wondering that what sorts of research that we carry out. And I have really understood that Southeast Asian universities have a long way to go when it comes to theory building. Generally, most of us, what we do actually, we develop a questionnaire, collect the data, and we perform some of the statistical analysis, and we present some of the results, and we find that we have completed the research. We have done the research. Well, that's not a research, basically. A research means that are we contributing to the theory or not? Are we, challenging the existing theory, or we are trying to build a new perspective? So can we advance the theoretical boundary? This is something which is very important. And that's why I request, from this presentation, one should understand that when you're submitting your article to the top journal, the editors look into the theory actually. And if the theory is missing, please remember that's very hard that you can, your manuscript can survive actually. So this particular framework is very suitable for those research scholars who are undertaking research at the intersection of social science, agriculture, food engineering, as well as circular economy and analytics. So the people who are, working at the intersection of these standalone disciplines, actually, probably they will find worth investigating. So theory building is one of the most important aspects. So what are the ways of building a theory? So there is a case-based research. That means you can undertake an in-depth case study. Now, case study sounds very simple, but it requires a lot of efforts and a lot of trainings and skills actually. Unfortunately, most of the Southeast Asian universities have not performed well when it comes to case-based research actually. And there is a lot of misconceptions when it comes to qualitative research. They feel that a qualitative anybody can do it. Actually, the case study or qualitative research is probably the difficult part of the research actually. And then there's a action research and ethnographic based study. There are many agriculture students actually, they are engaged in ethnographic based studies. And I certainly encourage people to do more path breaking study, because there is called quasi ethnographic studies, and there are several kind of studies. So of course I'm not going to discuss in detail because I am just talking up from the editorial point of view. But yes, if I get some time in future when I visit, I'll try to cover in depth each aspect actually. Now it comes to theory testing. So once you build a theory, it's important to test the theory, because if you don't test the theory, you cannot validate actually. So you need to validate your theory, and for that you need to perform. Now it depends upon the nature of the data actually. If you are dealing with a psychometric data or survey based data, you need to perform the confirmatory factor analysis and goodness of fit. That's very important to establish or check the validity of your theoretical model. Or if you are dealing with a longitudinal data, or like your secondary data or archival data, I think econometric tools are most important way to test your model. And there is another a stream of research which is quite like combining the both the essence actually, because there are scholars who say that build a theory and then test a theory. So it's called pragmatic approach, and there is called mixed method or pragmatic research or philosophy, what we say. I think this is something which is very important. So it's up to your decisions, your supervisors, your researchers, your laboratory team, whether they are interested in building a theory. Like British community, like British universities focuses more on theory building. uh, when it comes to American universities, they are more into pragmatic research. They love to build a theory plus follow by theory testing. So there are two school of thought. One is American school of thought, and one is British school of thought. Currently now worldwide, actually, when it comes to social science, or when it comes to applied sciences, these two school of thoughts are not dominating actually. I'm not like discouraging that we don't have alternative school of thought, but still the school of thoughts haven't established itself. So there are approach actually. There are several approaches. Of course, in Japan actually they have got realism, critical realism. There are many perspectives, but again they are part of either the combination of both British and the American school of thoughts. It's very important that research question is most important thing. uh, I would like to caution many of the scholars that when they are writing a manuscript or when they are developing their PhD thesis, remember research questions are the most important. In fact, 60% of the time, the manuscripts are getting test rejected because they have could not explain the research questions. And research questions sound so simple, but it's the most integral, it's the most important, the integral component of your thesis. And it follows a process actually. It doesn't happen. When I say extensive review of literature, I'm referring to critical review of literature. Most of the time, I'm sorry to say, when we read the literature review, they're descriptive actually. No, it's not about, it shouldn't be descriptive. It should be your own novelty should be involved. Your contribution should be there. You read an article, you read a quite a collection of articles, and then you draw your critical insights from there, which you're going to present in your research article. So after undertaking an extensive review of literature, you derive a research gaps. And for this particular step, I refer a seminal work published in the Academy of Management Review. The title of the article is called Alvesson and Sandberg 2011. Please refer this article if you really want to understand actually how to build appropriate research gaps actually. Most of the times we do gap spotting actually, that okay, these are the literature, and they have discussed these and they haven't discussed. So my research gaps are like this. Well, those are weak motivations, and those kind of research gaps doesn't help to advance the theoretical debate. And after noting down the research gaps, you will derive your research questions. And research questions should have three components: what, why, and how. What, why, and how. It's based on seminal article published in 1989 by David Wetton. What constitutes a theory? Please refer this article. These are the most important articles, and I recommend every researchers coming from whichever discipline, fundamentals remain same. Because we have been talking about the research, but unfortunately the mechanics is not strong, and ultimately we result into a wrong conclusion, wrong findings, and we are not able to help the scientific body of knowledge. This is appropriate research strategies developed by me actually. I was inspired by David Wetton's seminal work and Saunders research onion framework. Basically, Saunders, it's a very famous research framework, and based on this, I have derived a model actually, which actually guide any kind of researcher in the early stage to understand exactly how to make decisions. So you have a research question: what, why, and how. In order to answer what, you adopt two strategies: either literature review or exploratory research. Exploratory research comes into the play when you are trying to undertake a research in relatively new area, like chat GPT is a new discipline basically. So in that field, you don't have enough existing literature. So in that case, you tend to conduct exploratory research, and that's why you see that there are many scholars, there are many individuals are reporting based on their experiences. So those experiences are considered as interviews, observations, and all the stuff, which will allow you to build a debate. When it comes to why you have chosen these constructs, then in order to answer this question, you need to have a theory. Theory is very important because most of the times we fail to specify the theory, and that's why most of the times good top journals, they reject these journals articles submitted to this kind of. And then how means, how do you test your model now? So it depends upon the nature of the data, whether you've got qualitative data or you have got quantitative data. Depending upon the nature of the data, you conduct this kind of analysis. So this is something which is very important. I've already emailed to Professor Singh my PPT. Those who need, they can actually use it. I don't mind it actually. Thank you very much. I don't want to go much detail because I have so many stuff, but I think I need to give an opportunity to have a questions and answers session because these are the fundamentals of any articles actually. My objective is to to encourage you people to take a series of work that how analytics component can help to tackle this crisis. There's sort of a lot of articles actually. If you really want to know much detail about my articles actually, if you really want to know very well, so you have a Scopus database, I hope. And wait a bit. If you have a Scopus database, you can use my name like this, Dubey, my last name and Trameshwar. You can get all my research articles, stuff like, published here. So you can see that in recently, like I've worked on Chat GPT, like multidisciplinary perspectives. I have written an article recently, Dynamic Digital Capabilities and Supply Chain Resilience, the role of government effectiveness. Uh, we have talked about unleashing the potential of digital technology in the emergency supply chain, the moderating effect of crisis leadership, incorporating blockchain technology information systems research, design and management of humanitarian supply chain challenges, solutions, and framework. So there are so many series of articles. If you really want to understand exactly, you can read these articles. This is what or very easy. Those who don't have like a Scopus database, they can go to Google Scholar and you can find my all details. So in the Scopus, this is what you can find all my articles, like and you can actually have all details. So if you really want to know my recent works and my past works, you can actually know that very easily. So you can read all the articles. And because I know that in these sorts of, a few minutes lecture, I cannot discuss each article, but yes, these readings can help you to generate a lot of interest. And if you have a lot of interest, I'll be very happy if somebody is looking for publishing the research articles in British Food Journal, because I think this is the journal which is the best aligned with the existing call of papers and the conference theme. Thank you very much, and I'll be glad if you have any questions for me.
आगे सब हो जाएगा
Sir, myself, Dr. H.P. Singh from India. I am Mau, India. So first of all, I thank you for a good lecture, but I have some query. In your presentation, you say there are 3 W is required for the research. Why, what, and how? But I think, in my opinion, there is a 1 W is mentioned that where it should be done. Because there is a, when you go for the new development of methodology, there should be place is very important. Where, for what purposes this should be there. So from my thing, the where, what about the W where?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Actually, it's you have raised a very good question, and it's not that only 3W. There are 6Ws actually. I can share you very interesting work actually where I talked about 6Ws actually. Why I'm feeling that, why I've talked about 3W, because 3Ws are most important components for the basic fundamental research. But as you rightly mentioned, that it should be where, why, whom, and it's very important actually. And I have actually there is an article actually based on this one. Just give me, yes. I'll show you. This is a 6W framework actually. In my editorial note, I've developed it because, as you rightly mentioned, that this is very important stuff. And it's not only, but remember, 3Ws are most important: what, why, and how, because they are the foundation of your research. Actually, when it comes to theory, that's why it is. David Wetton also mentioned 6Ws, but mentioned 3Ws are most important. Look here. I have talked about C. Can you see this framework? I've talked about what, why, and how. Then, as you rightly mentioned, it's who, when, and where. So I have included your component, but I always told that when you talk about theory, basic theory, these 3Ws are most important: what, why, and how. Then it comes who, when, and where. Like similarly, when we talk about marketing, so 4Ps of marketing, 7Ps of marketing, 10Ps of marketing. But remember, 4Ps are the most fundamental one. Similarly, when it comes to research, first 3Ws, what, why, and how, most important. Then remaining 3s, who, when, and where. I hope it's clear to all of you, sir. Can you see?
Any more question?
जी प्रणाम सर।
नमस्ते सर, थैंक यू।
मैं आलोक बोल रहा हूँ सर।
हाँ नमस्ते सर, बताइए सर।
थैंक्स लॉट सर, आपकी सरलता, सहजता और आपकी ग्रेटनेस को मैं प्रणाम करता हूँ, और आपने हमारे आमंत्रण को स्वीकार करके इतना इम्पोर्टेंट समय हमको दिया। पूरे संस्थान परिवार की तरफ से आपको नमन करता हूँ, यहीं से प्रणाम करता हूँ। और जल्दी ही सर मैं चाहूंगा कि आपके चरण जो इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में यहाँ नहीं पढ़ पाए, वो जल्द ही पढ़े और मैं फैकल्टी ऑफ
बस
मैनेजमेंट
सर मैं शुक्रिया मैं आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू यू सर क्योंकि आपने जो ये कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑर्गेनाइज करके ये बहुत बड़ा काम किया है क्योंकि मुझे आशा है मैं विश्वास करता हूं सर कि हमारे यहाँ से कई स्कॉलर्स अच्छे शोध पत्र वो लिखेंगे, अच्छे जर्नलों में पब्लिश करेंगे और कैपेसिटी सबके अंदर है, बस अवेयरनेस की कमी है। तो इन जैसे कॉन्फ्रेंस के जरिए इस माध्यम के जरिए हमें ये बताना जरूरी है कि एक अच्छे जर्नल से आर्टिकल पढ़ के और कैसे थियोरी बिल्ड करके और कैसे उन्हें बनाना है, क्योंकि कई बार होता है कि हमें पता ही नहीं होता कि इस जर्नल में कैसे क्या जरूरत है। So thank you very much. I thank you very much to you and organizing committee for giving an opportunity to share my concern as an editor, because when we find manuscript, it's very important. It's not that people are not aware, but when it comes to developing a product, it's a big challenge actually. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Next.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Now I'm going to invite Bai Sai In Guang Go, founder, executive director, and principal researcher, Bai Sai In Organization from Singapore.
哎，还是这样。大家好，今天是用华语讲座，我们介绍的是白世银创新农业科技在水稻种植的应用，促进水稻的
Executive director and principal researcher, Bai Sai In Organization.
वो बोलने की उसमें ट्रांसलेशन होगा इंग्लिश में
大家好，今天是用华语讲座，我们介绍的是白世银创新农业科技在水稻种植的应用，促进水稻的
Executive director and principal researcher, Bai Sai In Organization.
那现在又停掉了。
是可以继续。对面要关了。
我们今天重点的是介绍白世银创新农业光科技在水稻种植的应用，它可以促进水稻健康和可持续发展。这边又翻译了。那么我们分4个部分为大家介绍全球粮食的问题，还有科技介绍、研究方法与结论。你听不到它是？听得到吗？第一部分是面临的问题。最重要的问题是，当今人类面临的一些最紧迫的农业挑战是什么呢？它是因为粮食不保障的威胁，食品价格上涨，所以在这个主要方面呢，生产力又下降，疾病丛生以外，那么最重要的是气候的影响对粮食的威胁太大了。可以吗？实现粮食安全的方法之一是提高粮食产量。目前增加粮食产量的努力对环境和人类健康带来了沉重的打击和代价。那么我们在寻找着有没有一种方法能够替代呢？所以我们能够在不影响农业生态系统的情况下，应对保证人类健康和增加粮食安全的双重挑战。这粮食在人类存在着极大的危机。OK， 来前面你翻译一下，直接你记多少算多少，就是你。
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, I will help to do a basic translation. The topic presented by Bai Shing Guangbo will be on Bai Shing Innovative Agriculture-like Technology Application in Paddy Cultivation for Health, Sustainable and Development and Yield Improvement. We'll go into these 4 aspects: the global food issue, particularly regarding the problems faced, introduction of the light technology, research method, and research conclusion. Part 1, we'll look at the problem faced. So some of the most urgent challenges, like the previous speaker had mentioned, in agriculture that humanity faces today are the threat of food insecurity, rising food prices and lower productivity, and also the environmental impacts like climate change. So this is the second part of the light technology.
所以我们主要研究的是正负能量。这个正负能量呢，在水稻中影响增产与减产这两者之间存在一个鲜明的对比，天地之间的差距。因为我们所说的能量，它可以分为正能量跟负能量。那么正能量为水稻带来的是什么呢？那么负能量对水稻的影响又是什么呢？我们今天从正负能量来解答。
Today we'll look at the energy. There are 2 aspects of energy. It may be divided into positive energy or negative energy. So our emphasis today, we'll talk about the positive, how the positive and negative energy interact.
那么我们首先要了解的就是在负能量中我们最重要的介绍2数字。大家知道负能量，我们有汽车的尾气是负能量烦恼造成的气场也是负能量。那么还有呢一些尾气，比如说汽车的尾气呀、拖拉机呀等等造成的尾气都是负能量。还有垃圾出来的那些气场也是负能量。那么我们今天所讲的负能量是关于早在2600年前，在《左传》中华优秀传统文化中，《左传》这本书里面所介绍的是2数字的文化。因为《左传》成功10年中早有记载的以2数字比喻疾病的这个2数字文化，那么就是以病入膏肓比喻不可救药。所以2数字的问题就是不可救药的问题，在人体体现出不可救药。那么在植物和土地有了2数字之后，也就一样病入膏肓。这是我们今天的主题要了解的最凶险的负能量，称为2数字。
Earlier, we have mentioned about the 2 types of energy. Here we are mentioning about 2数字. This is a type of negative energy, and it's also a negative force. If we have this 2数字 in our plantation or in our agriculture, there will be a lot of problems such as pests and disease, and also the growth will be affected. About this 2数字, this has been recorded nearly 2,600 years ago in this chronicle called the 左传成功10年. So just now, Pai Shing has mentioned 2数字 are the root cause of a lot of these plant issues.
大家看这本书，这就是《左传》那么呢，它呢可以以2数字的形式存在的负能量，变成了一种什么呢？病虫害。所以病虫害中的负能量多以2数字的形式存在，大概占了69%到73%。
This 2数字 recorded in 左传, you can see they appears in the form of negative energy, and it can manifest as this insects, pest and disease problem. So they account for 69 to 73% of the crisis.
对，我们再看，那它的主要根源，我们举一些例子说明2数字是农业欠收的根源。我们刚才说了，最凶险的负能量就是2数字，它可以夺人命，也可以让农业欠收，也可以让农业颗粒无收。所以主要的根源是什么呢？大家看这种虫害，它都是这个2数字以病虫害的形式存在的一个见证。
This is an example of a manifestation of 2数字 found in the paddy plantation, which is the primary root cause of poor agriculture harvest. So we're going to see the next slide.
我们再看二素子以病虫害形式存在于水稻中，看这个稻穗黑了这么多，这些黑色的呢都是被病虫害所侵蚀，所以二素子我们也称为生命复兴系。二素子的遗留场称名也就是生命夫妻场。所以在这两大力量负力量对人类造成了灾害，但是用于水稻呢，同样是起着严重的一个根本让它寸草不生的一个障碍。所以当我们的植物有了二素子过后，那么它这个暗能量69到73%的暗能量，让我们的水稻颗粒无收。
This is another illustration of the presence of 二素子 found in the paddy plantation. So another name for 二素子 is called 生命复兴系 or the negative entities, or 生命负气场 the negative energy.
所以我们一定要把二素子这一个负能量转为正能量，才让我们的植物呢更加丰盛，让它更加茁壮。
So it is imminent for us to transmute this 二素子 negative force into a positive force.
那么我们用的是什么方法呢？我们用的是光化这2个字，应用这个创新农业光科技呢，把这个二素子的负力量用光转化为正力量，这是重中之重。
So how do we change the negative force into positive force? The most important process is called light transmuting, which is a utilization of innovative agriculture light technology to transform the 二素子 to positive force.
那我们再看，在这个过程中呢，创新农业光科技是将具有生命力的自然光，也就是用自然光的技术应用在农业的领域中。这门技术一旦掌握好了，对我们植物的生存以及茁壮有非常大的贡献。
This innovative agriculture light technology is the technical know-how of applying natural light of vitality in the field of agriculture. If we are able to learn how to apply this, it will bring a lot of flourishing plantation and agriculture crops.
我们再看这个使用的过程。
This is an application of a drone to sprinkle our light technology.
但是我们可以把光化病虫害的3合1制剂放在我们的无人机里面，一起配合之后去补洒3合1的制剂。
So we use this drone, which is to spray the safe and pesticide-free agent developed by 白星光波. One, to help the soil condition. Second, pest, we light transmute this. And third, we provide plant nourishment agent.
所以在应用无人机洒光的过程中，我们最重要是在我们这个水桶方面呢，加入了3合1的制剂。那么什么是3合1制剂呢？因为它可以优化土壤，可以光化病虫害，也让植物呢更加营养，更加昌盛。
So just now I mentioned earlier, the 3-in-1 agent are the 3 that was mentioned, 1, 2, and 3.
看怎么操作呢？我们洒了光和没有洒光，我们做先后的对比稻田被暴风雨袭击后的情况对比。所以没有用我们的科技之前，这个稻杆是这样子的，全部被风吹谷给吹倒了。那么洒了光之后的话呢，它依然挺立。
This is before and after the application of our agriculture light technology. You can see that the one on the left, without the application, is flattened after the storm, after a strong gust of a storm that passed by, whereas on the right stems are still remaining upright after the storm.
我们再看减少病虫害的见证。所以当它到了抽穗的时候，那么没有用光科技的稻田七零八乱，还有呢稻穗呢不够饱满，不够沉重。 那么它的病虫害的形式，大家像黑斑病似的，所以把整个稻谷欠收也跟二树子有很大的关系。所以这个是用了光之后的稻田，这是没有用光力量，就是长得这样子，稻穗呢完全不一样，饱满度不一样，灌浆程度不一样，成长不一样啊，这个美丽大方更不用说了。所以没有用光的看是这个样子的稻穗，七零八乱，还有呢，它的稻杆、稻叶都不够强壮。那么用了光之后呢，鲜明的对比。
You can see this is a significant difference where one with use the light technology. This is a comparison of the paddy panicles. You can see on the left side, they are very dull and without much of a health, whereas the one that's lustrous color and of course the reduction in pests and disease is very significant.
所以这鲜明的对比哈，非常非常的明显。所以用了光之后的稻穗，沉甸甸的啊，硕果累累的象征。看稻穗真的灌满浆之后，它是下垂的，而且它的颜色完全不一样。所以稻穗与稻穗对比不一样，稻杆与稻杆对比不一样，颜色与颜色对比完全不同。
You can see the vibrancy of the color in terms of the health and also in terms of the yield as well. There has much production increment.
所以这是实践中的成效。我们再看啊，这是农主哈，他来测试的农主。所以在增产的部分呢，他们也来测试。以往的施肥次数呢要4次，但是这一期的稻苗成长的非常的茂盛，所以决定减少1次的施肥工作，也是4次减到了3次的施肥。但是在26天的里面的成长对比差好多。
This is a comparison of the growth rate. You can see after 26 days, the one that uses light technology has grown to 54 cm, whereas the other one without is 47 cm. And this is a testimony on the right by this farmer himself.
所以呢，那么加了光的呢，多长出了7厘米哈，47的高度到了54的高度，所以这是完全不一样的一个对比。
So in terms of the growth, there's an increment of 7 cm.
所以这是增产部分。那么再看稻穗的长势啊，有用光的和没有用光的。这是没有用光的稻穗不够强壮、瘦弱、矮小。那么在右边用了光的呢，非常的强壮、有力量，也高出了许多。所以这就是实践成果的一个对比。
So this is a practical research result. You can see on the right side, it uses light. The seedings is much taller and stronger as well.
所以左边呢是没有用光养料的，33天长51厘米，同样的33天长58厘米，这是当时的对比。
So this is a comparison. The one on the left side is 51 cm, whereas the other one on the right side is 58 cm in 33 days.
所以强壮程度也不一样，一个这么瘦小，一个这么样的粗壮，颜色也不一样。这个是呢，用了光之后是翠绿色的啊，这个稻杆也不一样，这个是比较粗壮的，这都是鲜明的对比。
So another difference is you can see the brightness and also the strength, the stem as well is different.
我们再看风吹谷啊，这个是风吹谷的现象，风一吹，稻谷就掉了，所以你看光杆司令一样，没有剩下几粒的稻谷在杆子上。
This is a difference in the wild rice species. After using light technology, there's less of wild rice species inside the paddy field.
长势也不同。但是用了光之后的稻米看如此的丰盛，因为中间还有图案，我们来不及拍照，所以呢，我们就用最终的结果呢来告诉大家稻谷的收成。
The one on the right is the increase in the yield. You can see.
所以呢，按照常规这个办法哈，告诉大家，按照常规呢，7200 24平方米的稻田的耕种面积为3220公斤，不过用了光之后，多长出了49.4%，也就是说，每1公顷的耕地增加了近1.5吨的收成。
The increment in the yield is 49.4% higher than the conventional cultivated field, which means in the 1 hectare of land, the increase in production is 1.5 ton.
这个不简单哈，因为才7000多个平方，结果呢就这么鲜明的对比。我们再看我们研究部分哈，它是研究方法是什么呢？我们来了解一下。所以这是我们在人甲稻田的一个试验，在这里呢，试验区一个是常规的试验，一个常规的试验，第二是应用我们科技的试验，总共是这么多的面积，724平方米，我们用掉的面积是129平方。
This is a land in Malaysia link-up area, right? The A and B, this is using the conventional cultivated field, whereas Plot C is field cultivated with our light technology.
所以通过这边呢，我们考察这是人甲的实验面积是一样实验时间是一样，人员也是一样，所以那么他们之间的对比有什么不一样呢？那么目前采用的方法我们是初步的因为我们种植没有经验，是初步的试验，但是已经看到了成果。那我们再看应用了光科技之后，它对水稻的对照试验的结果是什么呢？我们来看一下1、2、3，所以它的步骤是光化2树脂的改良土壤，也就是说我们在水稻还没有插秧的时候，先去光化土壤中的2树脂。第二呢，我们就是使光的养料与土壤结合在一起，那么最后呢，数据的收集。
These are the 3 steps initial. How do we go about doing it? First, we light transmute the 2树脂 so that we can improve the soil quality. And we apply the light-based plant nourishment. And thirdly, we will collect the data with the primary data collected for comparison.
那我们再看种之前的我们等一下做个对比。先看改良的土壤是光化5到7次这一期的稻米，每星期做1次。那我们看前3次的农药，它用了什么？用3杀的方法。那么化肥、种植3杀，杀田鼠、杀田螺、杀杂草，每10天做1次。那么我们呢做光化也一样，土壤改良5到7次，我们是光化田鼠、光化田螺、光化杂草，每10天1次。最后的结果看一下完全不一样。一季中4次的施肥，1、2、3、4，那么我们也进行了4次。最后呢，保鲜的稻米呢，我们用光贴来保存，这是很少用过的。光贴非常的经济，但是非常的有价值，所以用光贴保护的时候来保鲜稻谷的时候，它的用量是这样的。那么不管怎么说，这4种的肥料在我们光养料中自然的具备了，所以它用了可以生根而且产生叶绿素，氮肥对它有帮助。那么结果还有壮果期都过得蛮顺利的，所以保鲜的时候呢，就是。
This is a conventional cultivation compared with our light-based cultivation. You can see in terms of the application, there are 3 chemical kills, kill the mice, snail, and weeds. Whereas for us, we don't kill them. We use light transmuting the field, the mice, snail, and weed every 10 days. Then we also apply, instead of using chemical fertilizer, we use our light-based cultivation approach. And and another aspect is how do we keep it fresh? Is you can see here, we use our light sticker every 1 kg, 0.5 to 1 sheet of 1-to-1 light stickers. For 1 ton, we use 5 to 10 pack of light stickers to keep the crops fresh.
就在试验中继续做光化，所以这是我们的助理研究员在为水稻做光化。 这是农主现实强用光养料还有光制剂配合起来一起去做光化，看结果是不一样的。
This is the farm owner who's applying this light-based nourishment to the paddy field. 到了收割期了哈，但是呢，我们没有放弃对土壤的光化。再看我们光化前后的土壤有什么不一样？那么光化后的土壤呢，种植起来生长速度比较快。那么还有的话呢，土壤的改良，还有稻谷的沉甸甸增产。那么还有呢，它的这个叶子特别的绿。所以在这个方面的话，那么切入了经济收入的问题，那就切入了价格与常规植物对比使用和不使用的成本。那么更高的生产力，因为增产，它成本降低，所以增加了农民的收入。那么风吹谷的现象减少了病虫害，更强壮了稻杆，还可以抵御什么呢？暴风雨，还有减少损害。那么在更大的根系滋养和生长更强壮的植物，大家刚才就看了这个稻苗的对比、稻谷的对比、土壤的对比等等都有所不同。请我们的翻译员翻译一下。 So this is a conclusion of the practical research. There is higher productivity, increase in yield. Just now we mentioned increase by 49.4%, and there's a reduction in the wild paddy species. So this will address the lack of workers' need to do weeding. And there's also a reduction in pests and disease infestation. And also there's a stronger paddy stem. And also it can better withstand storms and lesser damage. And of course, there's a bigger root system to nourish and produce stronger plants.
那么我们再看农主他的介绍，他的分享报告。他说没有光化的时候，稻田呢稻杆容易呢被风吹倒，造成损失。那么我们这个用了光之后呢，稻杆都没有倒下所以呢也没影响稻谷的成长。那么还有呢，在这个稻谷的灌浆时候呢，它们灌浆不多，重量相比之下就比较轻。那么我们灌浆之后的话呢，稻米灌浆是饱满，每一粒都能够生长得非常的好。那么还稻谷的颜色方面，病虫害有很多的黑点，那我们这个明显的让稻谷亮丽光辉，还有呢减少了病虫害。那么风吹谷的情况密集严重影响收成，风吹谷的情况比较疏落，没有那么严重。那么还有呢，没有用光的容易得稻了病，用了光的稻了病的情况减少了许多。
This is a report shared by the paddy field owner. You can see the observation on the left and on the right is after the light transmuting. You can see that the paddy stems remain upright despite the rain of storm. And I think you can go through this list just now we have mentioned already.
那么它呢是没有公害的，而且保护农夫的健康、消费者的平安，还有土壤、水源、空气，没有农残。都能够为环境带来了优势，所以没有公害。因此这个项目呢争取呢我们这个光种植的这个水稻种植法可以持续还永续的增产，这是我们的一个对社会对粮食的一个贡献。
The three key advantages of this environmental and eco-friendly approach: non-toxic, cultivated with innovative agriculture-like technology is a sustainable method, and it gives you high quality and high yield.
所以这它带来优势。那么我们最重要总结了一下这个根本的问题，就是湿性农业生态系统的良性转化，将负力量二素质光化为正力量，所以减少了植物的病虫害。因此我们也种得开心，吃得安心，那么同时也可以呵护到环境，那么呵护到人类和地球。
In conclusion, this innovative agriculture-like technology focus on the transformation of the bed negative energy in the agriculture ecosystem, which is the 二数字, into a positive energy, so that we are able to cultivate with joy, consumer can enjoy with peace of mind. And at the same time, we are able to nurturing the humankind and also nurturing the earth.
这个非常重要哈，所以呢，我们整个课程就是浏览一下，分了4个部分哈，在这个粮食问题怎么种植，什么方法，最后的结果告诉了大家。希望我们的每一位兄弟姐妹在我们的大会中，大家有什么不明白的地方吗？可以提出来，尽可能为大家去解答。感恩大家。
Okay, last, with gratitude, is there any question? We'll try our best to answer.
If there are any questions, any questions, please. Hey, it is working. Any question?
Sound is big?
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, ma'am, this is very nice presentation. So we have got the new innovative ideas that we can control the insect and pest, and we can apply the nourishment or nutrients through the light-based management. So is there this technology, there is no use of any chemicals in terms of the fertilizers or pesticides like that. So there is no, just like we are getting the irrigation, just like that in the irrigation system, we have applied the fertilizers, pesticides, etc., etc. But in that case, there is no use of that, any ingredients.
Sorry, can you repeat? That means you are asking whether do we use any chemical ingredient, is that right?
Yeah, in this technology, there is no use of any chemicals or any ingredients in terms of the substrate, fertilizers, pesticides, whatever is there. Only by the use of the radiations or light, we can control entire the things. We can provide the nourishment, or we can protect the plants by the infestation of any kinds of pests and disease.
Yes, 他是问就是我们完全都不用这些化肥的东西呢，是绝病虫害的问题。
是的，我们到目前为止，我们没有用过，因为在研究阶段呢，尽可能用我们研究的这个光养料来协助到农夫，让农夫健康，让消费者安心的享用。
Yes, in this method, we do not use any chemical fertilizer or any pest or this pesticide, fungicide, etc. Yeah, so we try our very best to protect the health of our farmer.
所以在种植的过程里面呢，我们发现我们的大米非常的好吃，很香，真的是不一样，而且吃了之后感觉到那个正能量满满在上升，这是一般的大米呢很难做到的，但是用了我们的大米，感觉到你身体的能量在上升，好多的反应都是非常正面的。
So we've eat this rice, you know, that's out from this field. They taste exceptionally fragrance with lots of energy. So those who have taken this, they feel the vibrancy inside this rice. The energy is very, very different.
So, sir, this kind of energies, there is cosmetic energies there. Something is going on in our country also. Vedic Kheti is there. Vedic just like that. And, somewhere else mountain above is there. So this kind of energy is given to that device.
So you mentioned about some device that. Can you repeat your question again, sir, Doctor?
Yes, sir. Just I'm asking about that. This kind of energy or light we are supplying to control of all these things, whatever you have mentioned.
可能它是这个能量是来自宇宙，我们需要仪器吗？有仪器来。
我们最重要呢，我们就是一个纯净的水会感召正能量。我们生产这个制剂的时候呢，我们把这个一个是设备非常的好，我们的进口设备呢，它生产这个水的品质非常的棒，因为我们用纯净的水感召正能量，这是非常重要的一环。在我们这设备呢，我们从德国、从日本进口之后，我们根据马来西亚的水分子继续加以改造，将水分子减到最小，所以它穿透力就强。那么它自动的会感召大自然中的正能量。那么作为我们研究者呢，也怀着一个爱护农夫、消费者的心态，用我们纯净的心也感召正能量。那么当我们使用者、消费者也怀着一颗纯净的心灵的时候，那么他们享用这个果实，我相信正能量会更强。
First, we are very pure, clean water. The machine that we use imported from Europe, from Germany, from Italy, and it adapt to the local environment so that the water molecule that is formed, they are very, very small. So they have very good penetration power. So second aspect is very important is our big love for our mother nature and for the general humankind. So these two big aspects, then we are able to attract the cosmic energy into the water or into any of the nourishment that we have.
Yes, yes.
With this, we will proceed to the next speaker.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. You have given very innovative ideas. So we are really equipped with all these information. Thanks a lot.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Much appreciate everybody.
so much. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Now we are going to invite Dr. Santosh Marhatta, sir, Associate Professor from Agriculture and Forestry University, Chitwan, Nepal.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Is it my slide is visible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for providing the opportunity and the respected chairperson of the session and co-chairperson, rapporteur, and the different scientists, and also the that participant in this conference. I am very much glad to share some of the experience about the alternative crop management practice, especially the conservation agriculture, which we practice, which we test in the last 10 to 15 years in the Farm of Agriculture and Forestry University under my leadership. And my presentation title is the Conservation Agriculture Technology for Sustaining Sustainability of Intensive Rice-Based Cropping System of the Tarai and Inner Tarai of Nepal. As we know, the rice is very much important crop in Nepal. The agriculture sector that contribute at around the 1/3 to the total gross domestic product of country, and to the agriculture GDP, rice accounts around 13 to 14% to the agriculture GDP. This is the only one that product or the crop or the sector which contribute the large economic volume to the national GDP. And also rice provides around the 50% to the total calorie requirement of the Nepalese people, and which is also similar to that many of the state of the India as well. And it is grown in the all agroecological zone in Nepal. What we found in the that southern plain area to the and there is, the rice is cultivated in up to 3,000 meters above mean sea level. And but the most of the rice area is concentrated in the southern that plain area, which is adjoining districts and the adjoining part of that different state of India, especially the UP, Bihar, and also the West Bengal. The national productivity of rice, which is 3.79, it is the productivity of rice that is based on the 3 years average, which is ending in 2020-21, which is far below than the attainable yield of around more than 8 ton per hectare. That indicate that we can increase the rice yield by uh, by doubling. We can double our rice yield. The current rice production is not sufficient to meet the current national demand, so that though the country is that agriculture based economy and the rice is the main crop, but we are still that import the huge amount of rice, and by 2030 rice production must be increased by 1.03 million ton, which is equivalent to overall increase of the 20.29% in coming 7 years. But the expanding the rice area is very much problem in future. We have a very limited land, so that the extra production has come only from the increase in the productivity. But there is the declining the water table, especially in the southern plain. The underground water is declining. Labor shortage is a huge crisis. Most of the economic active people, they are that go to the labor market, even in the international, especially the Gulf country, and the increasing the cost of cultivation due to the rise of the labor price, and also due to the rise of the fuel price. These are the very challenging in future. Thus, the new rice technology must develop to address the scarce resources, especially the labor, water, and the fuel, by reducing and also increase the rice yield by around the 20% in the next 7 years. In Nepal, that most of the rice that is cultivated by transplanting the seedlings, though we have around 9% of the total that rice area is under direct seeded, especially that is the upland rice, where that is very limited field, especially in case of the hills of Nepal. But in the Tarai and inner Tarai, where the more than 2/3 of the rice area, what we have in the southern plain, the mostly rice is cultivated by transplanting the seedling in the puddle field. As we know, the puddling that benefit the rice crop at least, but repeated puddling that affect the soil quality, and not only that destroy the aggregates, so it reduces the permeability of the subsurface layer, forming the hard layer pan just below the surface soil. And there are chemical properties, including the organic matter and biodiversity. There is the decline in biodiversity. That means though the polling, though that is somewhat benefit to the rice, but it is very after rice, there is the another crop, as for example, the wheat or the maize, even the lentil. What we have grown in the southern plain, especially after the rice, these crops are hampered due to the polling in the rice. So that in the recent years, especially with the different research activity by the International Rice Research Institute, SIMIT, Nepal Agriculture Research Council, our University Agriculture and Forestry University, and Institute of Agriculture and Animal Science, and different NGO, INGO, especially the LIBOR and that forward that are involved in the very research activity, especially to transform the puddle transplanted rice to the DSR. And due to these research activities, government has also have a concern about that. And in recent year, DSR has been increasingly adopted by the farmers, especially in South Asia, and also in the some of the area where we have in case of the Tarai and inner Tarai, with the massive the area is increased with the that implementation of the SISA project, especially in the Tarai and inner Tarai. In these articles and in this, what I am going to present here is the comprehensive analysis to synthesize the result of the various study that in case of the Agriculture and Forestry University and my another institute, that is the Institute of Agriculture and Animal Science, where previously I am out for that, and to evaluate the yield benefit, whether we have a positive yield or there is the yield increment or there is the yield penalty, or and also the dealing with the economics of the DSR and the TPR. However, due to the some extent of the management practice, especially due to the residue management and also other the tillage and the nutrient management practice, there is the slight variation. So that the yield performance of the DSR and TPR is the still that is the questionable. And what actually in this presentation, what I am going to present is due to my experiment, multi-year experiment of around the 10 to 10 research that is conducted in the central Tarai of region of Nepal, and where the minimum temperature and the maximum temperature, that is 24 to 32 degrees Celsius, with the 88% relative humidity and the 1500 millimeter rainfall, especially in the rice season. And from these 2 well experiment, where we are going to compare the direct seeded rice to the TP transplanted rice under the puddle condition, under the different management practice, not only the peer plot, under the different management practice, for the that is segregating the effect of the different management practice on the yield and the economics. What here, what I am going to segregate that the residue retention of the previous crop, what may be the amount is that is kept under the heading of the residue retention, and another is the residue removed. And for the nitrogen application in the different 10 experiment, there are the different level of the nitrogen as well, so that there is the zero nitrogen, which is regarded as the nitrogen omission, and the nitrogen application of 60 kg, and the lower than that of the 60 kg is regarded at the lower rate of nitrogen application, and you have a recommended dose of the 100 kg nitrogen in Nepal, and the 100 to 120 kg nitrogen. This range is considered as the recommended dose, and above that the 130 kg nitrogen per hectare, that is segregated or grouped as the higher nitrogen, higher dose of the nitrogen. And there are also the varietal case as well. And there is the peer-wise comparison is made on the DPR and the DSR, especially by the significance test by the peer-T test. And these graphs show the climatic condition, which is the normal climatic condition, which is the utmost, that is the very optimum climatic condition for the rice farming. And let us start the result. What we found in the 10 experiment, that the table shows the comparison of the yield and the yield component of the direct seeded rice and that of the puddle transplanted rice in the wide variety of the management practice and the environmental condition. The yield difference in the direct seeded rice and the puddle transplanted rice, there is a slight decrease in the yield around the 2.4%, but it is not significant. The probability is not significant. And in the in most of the case, what we observe, the effective tiller per meter square is significantly higher in case of the DSR, direct seeded rice, but the grain numbers per panicle, which are significantly reduced, and there is the slightly reduction in the 1000 grain weight as well, but the effect is not significant. What we found that the straw yield is significantly higher in case of the direct seeded rice, though straw is not that very economic, especially in the Indian condition. But in case of the central Tarai of Nepal, straw is very economic value because due to for the livestock, so that the there is the slightly that increase in the significantly increase in the straw yield, and there is the decrease in the harvest index of the direct seeded rice, and sterility is significantly increased, especially in case of the direct seeded rice. And that is the comparison of the 150 peer plots where there is the 150 data points for the direct seeded rice and the 150 data points for the transplanted rice. What that means from the 10 experiment, what I am going to conclude that the yield level for the direct seeded rice, though it is slightly lower, but it is not a significant decrease in the yield. The graphical representation also show the first graph that also show the similar pattern. What is the percent change in the direct seeded rice that as compared to the transplanted rice for the different yield and the yield component. What I have already discussed in the previous slide in the tabular form that there is the grain yield is the slightly low, but in some of the experiment it is the positive. That means the yield may be the slightly higher than that of the fodder transplanted plots. But most of the experiment or the plots, what we have is that there is a slightly reduction in the yield. But in the all experiment plots, what we have the straw yield is significantly increased. In case of the direct seeded rice, harvest index is decreased, effective tiller per meter square is increased, grain number pentacle is decreased, and there is slight reduction in the 1000 grain weight, while the sterility is significantly increased in case of the direct seeded rice as compared to the transplanted rice. The second figure, what in case of the B, what we observed that the what is the change in the direct seeded rice as compared to the TPR, especially the cost of cultivation, which includes the variable cost of cultivation, not for the land cost, only the variable cost of cultivation. The cost of cultivation is reduced around the 14 to 18% cost of cultivation is reduced in case in case of the direct seeded rice, and where the gross return is almost similar. In some of the experiment, it is slightly lower than that of the podal TPR, but in some of the experiment, it is slightly higher. That what I that finalize there is slightly there is no change in the gross return. But what will happen is the gross return is almost similar, and there is the reduction in the cost of cultivation. That means the net return is greatly increased in case of the direct seeded rice, around more than 40% more economic or more benefit in terms of the net return, while the around there is around 15 to 20% more BC ratio in the direct seeded rice. What from this 10 experiment, what I conclude, though the yield level is slightly low, but there is the more benefit by reducing the cost of cultivation. Direct seeded rice is more that benefit. And in this figure, okay, I will reduce my volume. That in this figure, the first figure that shows the relationship of the yield for the direct seeded rice. What the case is, without nitrogen application, the yield is increased, while with the lower and the recommended nitrogen application, yield is decreased, and in case of the higher nitrogen application, it is increased. The level for the hybrid and the improved, that is not that is there is no significant increase or the decrease, there is no effect. But under the different type of the direct seeded rice, the conventional direct seeded rice, which is slightly low productive, the residue retention in the transplant CTDSR, which is
Sir, please conclude. Please
okay.
conclude it.
Then what my conclusion from this experiment is the analysis that the direct seeded rice was slightly lower than that of TPR, but lower yield of dry seeded rice can be reduced by the number of the grains per panicle and increasing the sterility. However, the yield gap is there, but we can reduce the yield gap by residue retention in the direct ZTDSR. And another is there is the direct seeded rice is more that economic as compared to the podal transplanted rice in case of the southern plains, central Nepal, that even though yield is low, but due to the low cost of cultivation and the higher return, that net return and BC ratio, we can conclude that the DSR is maybe the another sustainable option in the present rice farming system of Nepal. Thank you. If any question, please let me know.
Next, Dr. Madhav from Nepal. नहीं उसको करिए वो है टाइम गलत आदमी नहीं कहाँ से ऐसे मत घुसाइए ना उसको समझ गए पहले से
Thank you, sir, for nice presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me the time for the presentation.
Now I'm going to call Dr. Madhav P. Newpen, sir, from Agriculture and Forestry University, Chitwan, Nepal. And after that, another lecture of Dr. Dilpuja Jabua, ma'am, head of the Laboratory Institute of Genetics and Plant Experimental Biology from Uzbekistan. Now, sir, nephew, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, respected chairman and vice chairman, rapture, and all participants. So I am very happy and great opportunity to me for this international conference. So without delay, I would like to. I am going to present my slide. पहले तो मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा थोड़ा हिंदी भी बोलना चाहूँगा मैं इंडिया में बहुत साल रहा मैं बीएचयू में एमएससी और पीएचडी बीएचयू से किया तो आप लोगों को बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा और हमारे प्रेजेंटेशन से आगे डॉक्टर संतोष ने भी प्रेजेंट किया और हम ये एग्रीकल्चर यूनिवर्सिटी नेपाल में चितवन में है यहाँ से हम लोग हैं तो थैंक यू सो विदाउट डिले आई एम गोइंग टू प्रेजेंट माय topic effect of wheat and orobanki management practice on growth and yield of rapeseed at Chittagong condition of Nepal. So first introduction, rapeseed and mustard is one of the most cultivated oilseed crop in the world. The rapeseed mustard in Nepal, Nepal rapeseed about 76% area covered by the rapeseed only. And mustard area is very low, just only 2 to 3% area. And total area and harvested of rapeseed in the world, like Canada, 8.3 million hectare in Canada only, and productivity 2.35 ton per hectare. So in Nepal, 1.8 productivity in 2021. And Chittagong, Dang, Nal, Pransi, Banke, Berde are the major rapeseed and mustard producing of the district of Nepal. So low productivity of rapeseed and mustard in Nepal, mainly improper fertilizer application, micronutrient deficiency, poor plant population, inappropriate cropping system, insect pest and diseases, weed infestation, and parasitic weed like orobanki. So orobanki is an obligate gamic hollow root parasitic that bind with the host vascular system through host area where it can obtain organic minerals, carbon, nutrient, and water according to Press et al. 1986. So it's my experimental detail design was RCBD, number of treatment was 11 and replication 4. So treatment details like treatment 1 was VD check like control, VD 3 another treatment V2, and farmer practice 1 wine at 30 ds, glyphosate 50 gram AI per hectare, very low amount, very low concentration dose. Glyphosate 50 gram AI at the time of 30 ds, 30 day after sowing, followed by glyphosate 25 gram AI at the 60 DAS, P5 treatment, and pendimethalin 0.75 kg AI per hectare, and pendimethalin 0.75 AI followed by glyphosate 25 gram AI at the 60 DS T7 treatment, and pendimethalin and remsulfuran, like total 11 treatment were taken. So result, So in this slide shows the seed yield. Seed yield, maximum seed yield were taken in weed check control. And then maximum seed yield were taken in glyphosate 25 gram AI per hectare at 30 ds, followed by glyphosate 50 gram AI at 60 ds. And stover yield also and harvest index also maximum were taken, which are at par with T7, T5, and T2 treatment, but significant different than T1, T3, T4, and T8 treatment. So glyphosate, very low amount of glyphosate, very efficient use of orobenki control. So this slide shows the broadleaf weed where we are recorded in the field, an obligated parasitic weed in Orobenki remosa. Orobenki remosa is very popular weed in mustard and rapeseed field. So in Nepal also. So weed density in case of glyphosate 25 gram AI per hectare at 30 DAS, followed by glyphosate 50 gram AI per hectare at 60 ds, were recorded maximum weed density. And days to emergence, this slide shows the glyphosate, this 25 gram AI per hectare at 30 ds, followed by 50 gram AI per hectare at 60 ds, were recorded. Days to emergence is delay then compared to other treatment. And orobenki density numbers, in number, glyphosate 25 gram AI per hectare at 30 ds, followed by 50 gram AI per hectare at 60 ds, were taken minimum orobenki density. So that's why glyphosate 25 gram and followed by 50 gram AI per hectare at 60 ds was good control of the orobenki. Then other treatment. So cost of this slide shows the economic of the treatment. So glyphosate 25 gram AI per hectare at 40 ds, followed by glyphosate at 50 gram at 60 ds. Net return and BC ratio were observed maximum in this treatment, followed by others.
Please conclude.
So support for findings like.
Sir, please conclude it. Please
Okay,
conclude, sir.
okay, thank you. This is the supportive findings. So conclusion, double spray of glyphosate 25 and 50 gram AI per hectare at 30 and 60 ds could be better option for the farmer in orobenki control and yield enhancement of rapeseed at upland condition of Chittagong, Nepal.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is the some pictures of the orobenki.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any question, please?
How is this open for discussion? Any questions from delegates audience? So one of the requests from our abroad delegates, please submit details about that presentation there. That's why we can include in proceeding at all.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. ठीक है, बहुत अच्छा लगा. Thank you सबको.
Now I would like to call Dr. Dilfuza Jabrova ma'am, Head of Laboratory, Institute of Genetics and Plant Experimental Biology from Uzbekistan. Ma'am, please.
This session so this session is concluded.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank all the organizing committee for inviting me for this international conference. I am talking about my presentation title, salt-tolerant plant growth promoting bacteria improve physiological properties on black cumin and saline soil. Black cumin is very important herbal plant. Also, this benefit for health such as antimicrobial activity, anti-diabetic, antioxidant, and many beneficial properties. Plant growth formation, Rhizobacteria, very important plant, also improving plant growers development and also yield of many plants. Plant growth promoting endophytic bacteria and Rhizobacteria improve plant growers such as producing phytohormones, indolyl acetic acid, gibberellins, stachinins, also solubilizing phosphate, zinc, and also increasing nutrients and also nitrogen fixation. Nowadays in the world, salinity is very big problem, and salinity also decreases plant growth and yield, decreases nutritional status of plant, increases susceptibility of pathogens. Salinity induces also oxidative stress, also decreases photosynthetic activity, ion laxity, also decreases rate of seed germination, and also plant growth and yield. Salinity stress elevation of using plant growth formation Rhizobacteria. Plant growth formation Rhizobacteria very important beneficial bacteria, also producing indolyl acetic acid and astiaminase, plant hormones, isopolysaccharides, and also nitrogen fixation, phosphosolubilation. The objectives of my study to study the effect of plant growth promoting salt-tolerant bacteria on plant growers of black cumin and the saline soil. To investigate the effect of saline-tolerant bacteria on root morphological of traits black cumin and the saline. To study the effect of salt-tolerant bacteria on physiological properties of black cumin and the saline soil. In our experiment, we used black cumin seed treatment such as control Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus endophyticus, Bacillus altitudinus, and Pseudomonas carensis. We used this plant growth formation for bacteria. Then the impact of plant growth formation bacteria on the growth of black cumin was conducted in the saline soil underneath cows at Institute of Genetics Plant Experimental Biology. And seed was planted in the pot containing 8 kg of saline soil. After 40 days, plant growth parameters, physiological and root morphological parameters analyzed. Morphological characteristic of black cumin is influenced by salt-tolerant bacteria and the saline soil was investigated. Bacillus subtilis, when this inoculation, Bacillus subtilis significantly increased shoot lengths, fresh weight, and fresh roots in the black cumin compared to control. Compared to all control treatment, very beneficial effect. This is Bacillus altitudinus and Bacillus endophyticus significantly increased shoot lengths, fresh weight, and fresh weight of root. Compared to all treatments and to plant growth formation bacteria, beneficial effect on the plant growth parameters and the saline condition. The impact of plant growth formation bacteria on root morphological traits of black cumin and the saline soils was investigated. When this inoculation, this is bacterial treatment, showed that Bacillus subtilis and Bacillus altitudinus and Pseudomonas carensis also similar results showed that total root lengths improved in the just sorry. Just sorry, and the saline conditions. control and all treatments. The impact of plant growth formation bacteria on the chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B content of leaves in black cumin was investigated. This figure showed that when this inoculation Bacillus subtilis and Pseudomonas carensis and also Bacillus acidinus, Bacillus endophyticus, and significantly increased chlorophyll A, also chlorophyll B content compared to control. Compared to all treatments, also there's a significant difference in the most beneficial effect. Bacillus altitudinus and Bacillus endophyticus significantly increased chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B content in the black cumin under saline conditions. We also studied the impact of plant growth formation bacteria on the total chlorophyll and carotenoids content. These two figures also showed that similar results when the formation bacteria significantly increase total chlorophyll content and carotenoid content. And two bacteria, Bacillus altitudinus and Bacillus endophyticus, significantly increased compared to control, also compared to other plant growth formation treatment. This also similar results show that this is two bacteria also significantly increased compared to control, and also Bacillus subtilis and Pseudomonas carensis bacteria under saline conditions. The impact of plant growth promoting bacteria on relative photic content of leaves in black cumin was investigated. Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus altitudinus, Bacillus endophyticus, Pseudomonas carensis, and similar results showed that significantly increased relative photic content compared to control. When this compared to all treatment, this is all bacteria, between all bacteria doesn't show any significance. In my conclusion that salt-tolerant bacteria improved morphological characteristics in black cumin. Inoculation Bacillus endophyticus increases the morphological characteristics which positively affected shoot length, fresh weight of shoot, and fresh weight of root. However, Bacillus endophyticus inoculation significantly improved root morphological traits such as total root length and root surface area, root volume, the project area in the root diameter. Inoculation Bacillus altitudinus and also Bacillus and Pseudomonas carensis significantly increased and the physiological properties such as chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, total chlorophyll content in black cumin. Salt-tolerant bacteria, also plant growth formation bacteria could be used.
Ma'am, please conclude. Ma'am, please conclude it.
Yield of saline soils. Yes, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Altogether, 5 presentations were made by the foreign delegates here. So, thanks to all of presenters. Now, at the end of this technical session, I'd like to give my sincere thanks to organizer who has given us opportunity to sharing this session. And thanks to chairman, our reporters, also, and all the ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nilpuja ma'am, for giving your precious time to us. Sir, 1 minute. I would call to Professor R.C. Gupta sir and Professor C. Pujan sir to facilitate the memento and certificate to the chairman, co-chairman, co-chairman, and Report chair. Principal sir, please.
इसको तैयार करके तब बुलाया जाता है। ऑपरेटर सर।
Okay. I request to our technical team, please close the online session, and after that we are all the presentations going in offline mode.